Never trust these women by zodiac sign. Which women should never be trusted, even if they swear they are sincere? Who hides cold calculation and power capable of breaking the strongest bonds behind a mask of tenderness? There are zodiac signs whose energy is dangerous, and it is with them that you should be especially careful. They know how to charm, entice, and promise. But behind their words often lies something that destroys trust to its very foundations. Today we will analyze those women to whom you should not give the keys to your heart and destiny. Their strength lies in secrecy, their weapon is magnetism, and their nature is the ability to lead, but not always where you dreamed of going. Watch this video to the end to understand who they are and why they are dangerous. Subscribe to the channel right now if you want to be the first to learn the esoteric truth about the people around you. And write in the comments, have you ever met women who were impossible to trust? Your story may confirm what I am about to reveal. The first sign is Capricorn. A Capricorn woman knows how to create an image of a person who can be trusted without question. She acts decisively, confidently, and always makes it clear that her word carries weight. That is why she is often taken for a reliable ally to whom one can reveal the most vulnerable aspects of one's life. But this is where the main trap lies. Trusting a Capricorn woman can lead to disappointment and serious consequences. She does not show her emotions spontaneously and rarely reveals her true intentions, but she carefully studies every move of those around her. Her silence is never empty. It is filled with observation and cold calculation. Her main weapon is her ability to wait. A Capricorn woman is never in a hurry. She is capable of waiting for weeks or even years to pick the moment when a person is most vulnerable. At that moment, her actions become extremely precise. A word spoken at the right time can destroy her interlocutor's confidence, and hidden information accumulated over the years suddenly turns into a weapon of pressure. The danger is that it is impossible to predict in advance where she will show sharpness and where she will remain coldly calm. She knows how to save face in any circumstance. In a situation where others would be confused or give in to their emotions, a Capricorn woman remains reserved, as if events are unfolding exactly as she intended. People who trust her find themselves in a position where their steps have long been calculated and their weaknesses exploited for her benefit. She masterfully weaves details into the conversation that seem random, but ultimately become the keys to controlling her interlocutor. Particular attention should be paid to her business qualities. The Capricorn woman brilliantly uses working relationships to strengthen her own position. She knows how to convince her superiors of her indispensability, her colleagues of her sincerity, and her partners of the benefits of working together. But behind this facade often lies cold calculation. She does not become emotionally attached and can abandon any alliance if she decides that her goals require a different direction. To trust her completely in a professional environment means to find yourself deprived of support the moment she decides to change course. In personal relationships, a Capricorn woman is no less dangerous. She can create the illusion of stability and loyalty, but her true motives are often related not to feelings, but to profit. She is capable of evaluating her partner as a resource. His position, connections, abilities, even his weaknesses become tools for her. When the resource is exhausted, a Capricorn woman will not hesitate. She will walk away without explanation, leaving only a cold impression behind. The danger of a Capricorn woman lies in her ability to hide her true face behind a mask of reliability. She does not act abruptly and openly. Her methods are more subtle. She seems to weave an invisible web around a person into which they fall willingly, believing in her calmness and prudence. Only after some time does it become clear that her silent attention was not a sign of care, but a way to learn everything necessary for further use. She should not be confused with open manipulators. A Capricorn woman is much smarter and more cautious. She does not burn bridges, but carefully changes the direction of the road so as to come out on top. People who once trusted her completely often face unexpected betrayal, which seems especially painful precisely because they were confident in her reliability. The strength of a Capricorn woman lies in her ability to turn trust into a tool of control. She cannot be called open or sincere in the usual sense. Even her confessions and words of gratitude may be only part of a carefully thought-out tactic. And the closer a person lets her get to them, the more they risk finding themselves in a position where their fate depends on her decisions. A Capricorn woman knows how to create the impression of a solid foundation, but it is worth remembering, this foundation is built by her not for others, but for herself. She will not sacrifice herself for the sake of someone else's peace of mind, nor will she give up her interests for the sake of friendship or love. In her coordinate system, every person is an element that can be used. Therefore, to trust her unconditionally means to voluntarily give her power over yourself. The second sign of Pisces. A Pisces woman rarely gives the impression of being dangerous. At first glance, she seems gentle, sensitive, and ready to share any experience. But this is precisely where her cunning lies. Beneath her gentle appearance lies the ability to penetrate the depths of other people's weaknesses and use them to her advantage. You should never completely trust a Pisces woman, because her outward sensitivity is often a carefully constructed mask that hides a cold ability to control others. She skillfully plays on emotions. A Pisces woman knows how to make a person feel guilty, even if they are not actually at fault. She masterfully uses hints, understatement, and tears, turning them into weapons that are difficult to resist. The empathy she demonstrates may not be aimed at helping, but at luring a person into a trap of emotional dependence. As a result, you can lose your bearings around her, because her words and gestures seem to intertwine with the inner world of her interlocutor, depriving them of objectivity. The danger of a Pisces woman is that she does not act straightforwardly. She will not openly manipulate or pressure you. Her methods are more subtle. She can instill the idea that she needs to be saved, helped, and cared for, and it is this sense of responsibility and pity that makes her stronger. People who have entrusted her with their secrets and vulnerabilities eventually realize that they have become pawns in someone else's game. She seems to pull invisible strings, skillfully controlling the actions and thoughts of those around her. In working relationships, a Pisces woman often presents herself as a quiet, unremarkable employee who does not claim leadership. But it is in this position that she gathers the necessary information around her, observes, and analyzes. When a crisis arises, she is able to use the accumulated data in such a way that all solutions are tied to her. Colleagues can be sure of her loyalty, but as soon as a situation arises where it is more profitable to switch sides, a Pisces woman will do so without hesitation, justifying herself by circumstances or the need to survive. In her personal life, her ability to mislead is particularly evident. She knows how to create the illusion of sincerity when every word sounds as if it comes from the heart. But in reality, her confessions are often dictated by the desire to keep a person close for as long as necessary. When interest is lost, a Pisces woman is capable of disappearing without explanation, leaving behind a feeling of betrayal. Her departure is always sudden, and this is what makes it most painful for those who trusted her unconditionally. A distinctive feature of Pisces women is their ability to adapt to anyone. She changes her tone of voice, her views, even her hobbies, to appear as close and understandable as possible. But behind this flexibility lies not a desire for harmony, but a desire to control. The more a person feels a kinship of souls, the more dependent they become. As a result, trust becomes a tool that Pisces women use to their advantage, whether it be attention, resources, or opportunities. One must never forget her talent for hiding the truth. She knows how to tell half-truths in such a way that her interlocutor is convinced of her complete sincerity. A Pisces woman can conceal important details, leaving only the information that is beneficial to her. And if she ever decides to use this knowledge against someone, the blow will be especially hard, because no one expects betrayal from someone who seems so sensitive and gentle. The difficulty is that it is impossible to expose a Pisces woman right away. She does not make sudden mistakes or act too obviously. Her methods are veiled in care, compassion, or a desire to help. But if you look closely, it becomes clear that her kindness has limits, behind which lies cold calculation. To trust her completely is to allow her to penetrate the depths of your soul, where you have no defense. A Pisces woman never leaves anything to chance. Even her dreaminess is just a tool to lull you into a false sense of security. Her gentleness seems natural, but it is precisely this that becomes the fertile ground on which manipulation grows. People who have given her the key to their weaknesses sooner or later discover that this key is being used not for their benefit, but against them. The third sign is Virgo. A Virgo woman always commands respect with her precision, neatness, and ability to keep everything under control. She appears reliable and rational, as if her words and actions are dictated solely by logic and common sense. But it is precisely in this outwardly clear structure that her danger lies. To trust a Virgo woman unconditionally means to fall under the influence of a person who knows how to use other people's mistakes and weaknesses without making a fuss. Her strength lies in her attention to detail. A Virgo woman does not miss a single thing. A careless phrase, a casual glance, an ill-considered action remain in her memory for a long time. She collects these fragments like an experienced analyst and then uses them at the right moment. It is important to understand that she never rushes to conclusions. She is capable of observing for years, accumulating knowledge, and patiently waiting until the situation develops in such a way that her precise strike will be most painful. In communication, a Virgo woman gives the impression of a fair and honest interlocutor who always says what she thinks. But her directness does not always reflect the truth. She can hide deep calculation behind dry words and, under the guise of objective criticism, carefully push a person towards decisions that are beneficial to her. She will not resort to overt manipulation or loud promises. Her methods are more subtle and inconspicuous. The danger is that her comments and advice are often perceived as concern, when in fact they become levers of influence. In work processes, a Virgo woman is especially dangerous. Her diligence and pedantry create the impression of an ideal employee who can be relied upon. But it is precisely in this position that she gains access to information and processes that ultimately use her as a key figure. She knows how to present herself as indispensable, and then carefully shift the focus so that all achievements and results are associated with her contribution. Colleagues who trust her unconditionally often remain in the shadows, while the Virgo woman strengthens her position at the expense of others' efforts. In personal relationships, her methods are even more pronounced. The Virgo woman is able to convince her partner that she is the one who sees him best, understands him, and guides him. But this apparent care often turns into total control. She will check every detail: words, actions, habits. Her desire for order turns into a tool of pressure, where a person gradually loses their independence. And when he finally falls under her influence, a Virgo woman can use this dependence to act exclusively in her own interests. Her ability to hide her true intentions makes her particularly unpredictable. A Virgo woman rarely shows her emotions openly, and this is what creates a feeling of cold honesty. But in reality, her decisions are based on calculation, not feelings. She is capable of demonstrating strictness and directness, while at the same time making plans that she will not reveal to anyone. Trusting her can result in a person finding themselves in a position where all their steps are already calculated and limited by the boundaries she has set. The danger of a Virgo woman is not in open conflict, but in her systematic approach. She acts methodically, step by step, which is why her influence is difficult to notice. A person who trusts her eventually begins to accept her rules as the only possible ones. And when they try to go beyond these boundaries, they find that they have lost too many opportunities and resources by relying on her common sense. The Virgo woman knows how to turn trust into a tool of control. She does not need loud promises or emotional outbursts. Her power is based on the order and discipline that she herself sets. The more a person trusts her, the deeper they sink into her coordinate system, where she always occupies the leading position. This is precisely why Virgo women are so dangerous. Behind their logic and rationality lies the ability to subjugate others to their will without resorting to overt pressure. She acts quietly, unobtrusively, but the result of her influence is no less destructive than the most blatant betrayals. To trust her completely means to gradually give up your own freedom, without even noticing how control over your life passes into her hands. The fourth sign is Aries. An Aries woman never reveals all her cards at once. She knows how to create an atmosphere of trust around her, but she does so only to gain an advantage. Her words sound straightforward and honest, but there is always a hidden agenda behind them. In her relationships with people, she acts sharply and assertively, leaving her interlocutor no chance to calmly analyze the situation. Her strength lies in her ability to capture attention, and then use it against those who have relaxed. It is worth remembering that Aries women have a pronounced tendency to dominate. She does not tolerate other people's initiatives because she is convinced that only her rules should apply. Her energy is so strong that many succumb to it without noticing how they get drawn into her personal scenario. It is difficult to keep a cool head under her pressure. At this moment, she gains the upper hand. The main weapon of an Aries woman is pressure. She can pass off her desires as the truth and her benefits as a common goal. And if you do not recognize the manipulation in time, you can easily find yourself in the position of executing her plans. In an argument, she never gives up, even if she realizes she is wrong. For her, admitting weakness is tantamount to defeat. Therefore, the dialogue turns into a battlefield where she will defend her position to the last. Her passion for risk is no less dangerous. Aries women are often ready to go all in without thinking about the consequences. This makes them attractive to those around them, but it is precisely this trait that poses a threat. Under her influence, people are capable of making decisions that destroy stability. Her impulsiveness can destroy any agreements if they do not correspond to her desires. Emotionally, she acts like fire. At first, she warms you up and seems sincere, but then she can burn you so badly that the scars remain for a long time. She knows how to use emotions as a tool of pressure. First, she evokes guilt. Then she demonstrates strength. And then she returns to gentleness, only to confuse you. This contrast makes her unpredictable and therefore dangerous. Another trait is her intolerance for the weakness of others. She will not forgive slowness, will not accept doubts, and will not tolerate those who try to avoid giving a direct answer. Victory in any form is important to her, even if it means destroying trust. That is why it is impossible to completely relax around such a woman. Her desire for control makes equal interaction impossible. The danger of an Aries woman is that she never plays openly. Her determination masks her true intentions, and her energy is confusing. Those who believe in her straightforwardness often find themselves deceived by her harsh actions. She may talk about partnership, but she acts solely in her own interests. And the more trust she is given, the stronger her power becomes. Therefore, the main lesson is that Aries women do not tolerate the will of others. They know how to turn trust into a tool, and this is precisely what makes them people who cannot be trusted unconditionally. Their power is too destructive not to keep your distance and remain coldly calculating in every step you take with them. The fifth sign is Cancer. A Cancer woman is the embodiment of contradictions that can easily be mistaken for sincerity. At first glance, She seems gentle, attentive, and caring. Her words are filled with warmth, and her gaze inspires trust. But behind this image lies a subtle calculation that is invisible to those around her. Her ability to listen and support creates an illusion of closeness. But it is at this moment that she gathers all the necessary information about a person. Later, this information becomes a weapon, used with surgical precision when it suits her. Her strength lies in her ability to play on other people's feelings. A Cancer woman knows how to elicit sympathy, how to create a situation in which everyone around her will feel obligated to her. She is able to portray herself as a victim, subtly hinting that she cannot cope without help. And when a person is drawn into her sphere, they begin to act in her interests without even noticing it. It is important to understand that her requests are rarely simple. They always lead to her gaining an advantage, leaving the other person in a position where they lose more than they realize. The particular cunning of a Cancer woman lies in the fact that she does not attack directly. Her strategy is to surround her attention with care and then slowly push you toward the desired actions. She may be gentle, even vulnerable, but it's all a carefully thought-out scenario. Where others are straightforward, she prefers a viscous game of hints and nuances. And this tactic almost always works, because the other person does not feel threatened until they are completely caught in her web. The danger is that Cancer women know how to make people feel guilty. Even if the guilt is imaginary, she will present it in such a way that the person will be ready to apologize and compensate for something they did not do. This technique makes her especially dangerous in relationships and business. At times when she seems weaker, she is actually stronger than anyone else. She forces those around her to adapt to her, give in, justify themselves, and help her, while she remains in an advantageous position. She skillfully uses the past as an argument. A Cancer woman will never forget anything that can be used against another person. The slightest mistake made by her conversation partner becomes a trump card that she carefully saves until the right moment. And when the time comes, she will remind them of old events with such force that they will feel obligated again and again. It is an endless game of debts from which it is impossible to escape without losses. Many mistakenly believe that her strength lies in emotional attachment. In fact, her main ability is control through emotional leverage. She not only knows the weaknesses of those around her, she knows how to make those weaknesses work for her. She is a master of manipulation who hides behind a mask of kindness. Her smile is not always a sign of friendship. More often than not, it is a signal that she has already calculated several steps ahead. A Cancer woman does not reveal her true goals. She acts slowly but surely until she gets what she wants. And when the goal is achieved, she can disappear as suddenly as she appeared, leaving behind emptiness and confusion. Those around her do not understand for a long time how exactly they were used, because outwardly, everything looked as if they had made the decisions themselves. Do not trust the words of a Cancer woman without verification. Behind her soft intonations may lie a fierce desire for control, and behind her confessions, cleverly placed bait. The closer a person lets her get to them, the more they risk finding themselves in a situation where their feelings and actions no longer belong to them. She does not always seek destruction, but her interests always come before those of others. And if the path to her benefit lies through the losses of others, she will take that step without hesitation. That is why trust in a Cancer woman becomes the most vulnerable spot for those who allow themselves to relax around her. She will not forget a single weakness, will not miss a single opportunity to use it to her advantage. Behind her outward gentleness lies a tough strategy, and those who do not understand this in time will inevitably become part of her game.